Imagine waking up tomorrow to find everything you rely on has been compromised. Your bank account, your social media, even your home security, all suddenly out of your control. One click, one breach. Everything changes. Who did it? How did it happen? Can we stop it? In the digital age, threats show up every day, often without announcing themselves. The unsettling part is how normal it can look right up until it isn't. Cybersecurity exists because our world is connected, and connection has consequences. Most breaches do not start with a movie villain. They usually come from something ordinary: a trusted connection, an unpatched system, a single mistaken click. That is the quiet twist behind cybersecurity. The moment computers began to connect, protection stopped being a feature and became a permanent job. Let's rewind to the 1950s, when computers filled entire rooms. They were rare, expensive, and treated like scientific instruments, not personal possessions. A computer was powerful, but it was also alone. In those days, the biggest security risk was someone spilling coffee near the punch cards. These machines lived in controlled spaces, used by governments, universities, and major labs. If you wanted access, you typically needed a badge, permission, and patience. There was no global network to attack. There was not even a global network to imagine. Then the 1960s brought a quiet revolution: time sharing. Multiple people could use one machine, and who are you suddenly mattered as much as what can it compute. Passwords and permissions were born from that social fact. When many users share one system, mistakes become systemic. As early networks began to form, a new question appeared. What happens when a computer talks to another computer and someone else listens? The first vulnerability was not exotic. It was the fact that communication creates a surface where something can go wrong. In the early hacking culture, around universities and labs, curiosity often arrived before rules did. People explored systems because they could, and because boundaries were still being invented. Sometimes it was harmless tinkering, sometimes it was mischief, and sometimes it was a preview of something much bigger. In 1971, an experimental program called Creeper moved across ARPANET-connected machines. It was not destructive, but it proved a haunting concept. Software can travel on its own. It even left a message behind. It was basically the earliest version of Hello World, if Hello World could sneak into your computer. Not long after, another program called Reaper was created to remove it. This is the first great pattern of cybersecurity. A new threat appears, and a defense is invented to chase it. Through the 1970s, computers slowly became more common, and networks slowly became more real. Each improvement in access made life easier and made mistakes more expensive. That trade-off never goes away. Convenience always negotiates with security, and security always asks for rent. By the early 1980s, personal computing took off. Computers moved from institutions to offices and homes, and the number of users exploded. More users meant more targets, and more targets meant more incentive for people who wanted to cause trouble. In 1982, a prank program called Elk Cloner spread through floppy disks, mostly among Apple II users. It was mischievous, not catastrophic, but it showed something new. Malware did not need the internet to spread. It just needed people. In 1986, the brain virus infected the boot sectors of floppy disks on IBM PC-compatible machines. It spread widely through physical sharing, which was the social network of that era. It was not built to wipe the world, but it made the risk undeniable. Code could hitchhike on what we trusted. Then came 1988, and the internet learned one of its first public lessons in humility. The Morris worm spread rapidly across thousands of computers and consumed so many resources that many systems had to be taken offline. Even if people debate the exact percentage, the takeaway is clear. A connected system can fail at speed. The worm also changed how people organized defense. It helped drive the creation of coordinated response efforts, including the idea of a dedicated emergency team for incidents. Cybersecurity stopped being a local problem. It became a community problem. Around this period, the idea of a firewall began to solidify. If networks were cities, firewalls were the gates, deciding what could enter and what could not. This was not the end of risk. It was the beginning of architecture. By the 1990s, the internet was exploding into everyday life. Websites, email, and online shopping made computers feel like doors to the world. But every door has hinges, locks, and weak points, and attackers love a door that everyone uses. A new kind of crime emerged: identity theft, fraud, and account takeover. The targets were no longer just machines. They were people's lives, translated into data. The most valuable thing online was not always money. It was the ability to pretend to be you. Defense evolved too, and one of the biggest quiet upgrades was encryption. Tools like PGP helped make private messages possible in a public network. Not because the internet became nicer, but because it became necessary to assume someone might be listening. In the mid-1990s, secure web browsing took shape through protocols like SSL. This made everyday commerce possible because it created a way to protect data in transit. A modern online checkout is basically a trust ritual. You type, the system promises, and encryption tries to make that promise real. Meanwhile, attackers learned that humans were often easier to exploit than code. Social engineering grew in power because it targeted attention, urgency, and trust. A sophisticated phishing email is not a technical masterpiece, it is a psychological one. The late 1990s brought the dot-com boom and a rush of new businesses. Many companies moved fast, built quickly, and treated security like a task for later. The internet rewarded speed. Attackers rewarded themselves for noticing. Email became a delivery system for trouble. Macro viruses and mass mailing worms spread because people clicked first and asked questions later, which is a very human habit. If there is a villain in cybersecurity, it is often impatience. In 2000, a teenager known as Mafia Boy launched distributed denial-of-service attacks that knocked major sites offline, including Yahoo, eBay, and CNN. It was a public reminder that the internet's strength was also its fragility. For everyday users, it was a first taste of helplessness. If giants could be shaken, anyone could be. DDoS attacks also revealed a strategic idea. You do not have to break in to cause damage, you can simply overwhelm the entrance. It is the digital version of blocking the front door with a crowd. Security tools became more common in homes and offices. Antivirus software became a household idea, and regular updates became a kind of digital hygiene. Of course, nobody likes updating. Attackers have always appreciated our shared dislike of inconvenience. Ransomware also has early roots, including the late 1980s PC cyborg incident, but it evolved dramatically over time. The modern version became devastating when criminals paired encryption with scale, automation, and payment methods that were easy to move. The threat was no longer, "Your computer is acting weird." It became, "Your future is locked behind a timer." Picture a small family business arriving on a Monday to a frozen screen and a countdown. The doors are open, but the tools they need to work are locked away. No secrets are required for panic to spread. All it takes is a system people depend on and a reason it cannot be trusted. In the past, a broken machine was a mechanical problem. Now, a broken machine can be a negotiation. And the defenders do not get applause for prevention. They get silence, which is the best possible review. As the 2000s progressed, attackers professionalized. Cybercrime became organized, funded, and patient, with playbooks instead of improvisation. The targets changed too. It was not just personal computers. It was companies, hospitals, and the basic services people depend on. Defenders responded with layers. Intrusion detection systems watched for suspicious behavior, and later, intrusion prevention systems tried to stop it in motion. Instead of asking, "Who might attack?" defense began asking, "What does an attack look like?" Security operations centers became a standard idea. Teams monitored logs, alerts, and anomalies, trying to spot the one odd thing among a million normal things. It is not glamorous work. It is also the reason a lot of things still function. The mid-2000s also saw a rise in large-scale data breaches. Databases became treasure chests, and stolen credentials became the keys that opened them. A password is a tiny thing, but in a connected world, it can be a master key. In 2007, Estonia experienced a sustained wave of cyber attacks that disrupted public-facing services, including banking and government sites. Much of it relied on traffic flooding techniques that made systems unavailable. The lesson was not about one country. It was about what happens when a society depends on networks. Around the same era, the world began to see clearer examples of attacks aimed at industrial systems. Malware targeting control systems showed that cyber incidents could have physical consequences. When software touches infrastructure, cybersecurity stops being abstract. It becomes real-world safety. The 2010s brought an era of headline breaches and hard lessons. Attackers often used simple methods, like stolen credentials, but applied them at enormous scale. It was less magic hacking and more professional exploitation. In 2013, the target breach exposed payment card data for tens of millions of customers. It demonstrated how third-party access and internal network paths can turn a single weak link into a major incident. Shopping, banking, and browsing were no longer just activities. They were risk surfaces. Breaches also changed how companies talked about security. Terms like risk management, incident response, and security culture became everyday language in boardrooms. Not because it sounded good, but because it became expensive not to. Meanwhile, defenders improved authentication, two-factor authentication, and later multi-factor authentication spread because passwords alone were not enough. It is an imperfect solution, but it raises the cost of attack, and that matters. The 2010s also made one thing painfully obvious. Updates are not optional decoration, they are survival. Many of the worst outbreaks relied on known vulnerabilities that were not patched in time. In 2016, the Mirai botnet showed how insecure internet-connected devices could be recruited into massive attacks. Everyday gadgets became part of someone else's weapon, often without their owners ever knowing. When everything is connected, everything is also recruitable. In 2017, ransomware, like WannaCry, spread quickly and disrupted organizations around the world. It combined worm-like propagation with a financial motive, which is a particularly unpleasant combination. It also reminded everyone that basic practices, like patching and backups, are not boring. They are heroic in a quiet way. By the late 2010s, the security philosophy itself shifted. The old idea of inside good, outside bad began to collapse under cloud computing, remote work, and supply chain risk. This helped popularize ideas like zero trust, where systems verify continuously rather than assume safety based on location. Defenders also improved detection with endpoint tools that watch behavior on devices, not just traffic at the perimeter. This approach treats every machine as a place where truth can be measured. In modern defense, the question is often not, did someone get in? It is how quickly can we notice, contain, and recover. Now we enter the 2020s. The battlefield is faster, and the attacks can be automated, scaled, and personalized with furious efficiency. A good attacker does not need to outsmart everyone. They only need to find the one system that is behind on Tuesday. But defenders have evolved too. AI-driven security tools can spot anomalies, flag patterns, and respond faster than human teams alone. Instead of waiting for damage, modern defense tries to predict it. Behavioral analytics has become a powerful idea. It is like a silent detective that notices when normal suddenly is not normal. The best systems do not only look for known threats, they look for strange behavior that should not be there. But AI is also used by attackers. It can generate convincing phishing messages, automate probing, and accelerate searching for weak configurations. So the arms race continues, now with faster tools on both sides. The future raises an even bigger question: quantum computing. If large-scale quantum machines become practical, some current encryption methods could be weakened, forcing a global transition. Quantum encryption could create new protections, but quantum power could also break old ones, and both possibilities matter. Add the Internet of Things, and the risk multiplies again. Every connected camera, sensor, and device becomes another door to defend. The trend is simple and relentless. More connection means more responsibility. And that is the real ending of this story. Cybersecurity is not a finish line. It is a posture. The battle does not end because connection does not end. Cybersecurity is a race between attackers and defenders, but it is also something deeper than a contest. It is the quiet work that lets modern life keep functioning. Most days, you never see it, and that is the point. So as you shop online, manage finances, or simply scroll through your day, remember what is happening underneath. Protection is being rebuilt in real time, over and over. It is the unsung hero of the digital age doing its job in the background. From isolated machines to intelligent defenses, vigilance became permanent. You're always welcome here, and remember, it's Illumentary.